In 2010, 10 Department of Education schools in the eastern suburbs launched a program now known as Asia Engaged. In this week's episode, we discover how 4 of these schools are sharing ideas directly with schools in China. Teachers in both countries are learning from each other the best way to teach each other's language. It is a true cross-cultural program which has allowed Australian teachers teaching in China and Chinese teachers coming here. It is a challenging and engaging program of language learning, brimming with excitement for teachers and students.
Asia Engage is also dependent upon the strong partnering relationships that are formed. When schools build collective shared understanding of their work, they build relationships between the people, they demonstrate a real commitment to the work that they want to achieve, and they're really clear about what the things are that they want out of the relationship, then we get success and we get sustainability.
There are 10 schools in the eastern region who've been nominated for this project, and the reason for their nomination is their readiness to engage in a project with Asia. And the reason that Canterbury High School has been selected is because we've introduced Mandarin as a language, and also that we've demonstrated through our roles with the Asia Education Foundation and a number of other projects that we're ready to go with something more dynamic. This year at Year 9 we have a project called China Challenge. It's the first year we've had this project. It's part of a broader curriculum subject called Connections, where each term the students take an area of interest or inquiry and develop a research project based on that question. The 15 students who are going to China later in the year are all doing a project called China Challenge. In that project, they're going to focus on the areas that they believe are of most challenge to them and develop the resources and responses they need to face those challenges. What we're really trying to do, and what sets this project apart from lots of other exchange programs, is that we're looking for long-term sustainability. So we're building the foundations at the moment at a number of levels. First of all, through the leadership connection across the 2 schools. Secondly, through the student-to-student exchange. But thirdly, through the teacher-to-teacher exchange and the learning discussions and plans for how we might get the most out of each other's educational settings.
Camberwell High School selection process for students who are going to go to Suzhou, our number 10 school, involves quite a bit of interviewing. We had a large number of students who were interested in the process, and they had to put a written application in, and then they had to present themselves for an interview. In the interview, we were looking at students who wanted to further their study of Asian languages and Asian studies. We're also looking at students who showed a great deal of resilience, who were fairly independent, able to interact with other cultures, and who would be able to come back to Australia and bring their new knowledge and learning with them. I expect that students will grow in themselves. They'll grow in their knowledge and understanding of intercultural relationships. Australia is now very closely linked and is going to be further closely linked to China, and I'm hoping that this will be just the start for Camberwell High School through these students.
When I found out that I was going to China, I obviously felt delight because I knew that I'm going to be learning about the culture in China and the way that their citizens live. I think it's really going to be good for me because I'm going to learn about how China does business and what their education system is like and how it really differs to Australia's system.
When I heard that I was going to China, I felt excited because going to a new country is pretty different to Australia and probably give me opportunities to grow myself and learn different skills.
The students, I think, are a little bit apprehensive about the trip, but they're also looking forward to it a lot. I think maybe the main reason why they're apprehensive is because of the language. Most of them have studied very little, if any, Chinese in the past. And although we're learning a little bit of Chinese in our lunchtime sessions, by the time they get to Suzhou, they will still only be able to say quite a small amount. However, Suzhou is a school that teaches an intensive English language program, So we're hoping that they will still be able to communicate very effectively with their students. The students will be staying in homestay accommodation, and I think that will be another challenge for our students, because they'll be transferred to this new setting. Maybe they'll be eating strange foods that they haven't eaten before. Perhaps they'll have to get used to some customs that might be unfamiliar to them. But we're very certain that the families that will be hosting them in Suzhou will be welcoming, and the children will speak English, if not the parents.
你好，你好，你好，你好，你好。
Schools that are part of the Asia Engage project have developed and continue to develop partnerships with sister schools in China. The teachers exchange ideas on how they teach with their partner schools in Suzhou. Victorian teachers have now had the experience of teaching Chinese students in China. It's a fabulous partnership that has also seen Chinese teachers and students come and learn about what happens in Victorian classrooms.
My name's Justine Mackey. I'm from Canterbury Primary School, and we have established a partnership with a school in Suzhou, and the partnership commenced in February, and we had some children who came to stay with us. We then went back in November, and we have since hosted the principal and a group of teachers in April this year. What we decided was really important was that making strong connections from teacher to teacher was going to be the key driver for a successful program. What that actually meant was sharing an understanding of how they teach and how they assess children for learning and how they actually meet the individual needs of the children in the classroom. That was a really significant aspect of the Chinese. They really wanted to have a look at what it was that we were doing, how we were catering for the needs of the different children in our classroom. Our teachers are really interested in finding out the best way to maximise learning time. What we found was that their lessons are really short, sharp and really focused. So our teachers are really keen to find out how you make the most of every minute in a lesson and how you really target that teaching during that time. This program has been really significant for us in the way that it's allowed us to develop a really strong partnership, and it's a partnership that is focused on teachers understanding each other and learning from each other, a partnership that allows children to engage with each other and learn from each other, and we think that we're really well on our way to ensuring that this is a partnership that lasts a really long time.
The kids loved having Annie to stay, who came over from China for a week. They loved having someone different in the house, someone new to talk to, and they love having a connection with China now. They're interested in China and it makes sense to learn Mandarin. It's really opened up the world to them in a way.
It was lots of fun to have Annie here because it was just great to have someone from China come and stay with us.
It was really great to have Annie from China because I had someone my age to talk to and just someone my age in the house. I thought it was really interesting that her English was very good because she comes from another country and she's only 10.
The partnership that the school has made with the school in Suzhou is terrific, and to be part of that partnership is something I'd like to take further, or it's almost just a beginning, I guess, for the family.
To ensure that we do have long-term sustainability around the learning and teaching programs, we're committed to sending teachers on a yearly basis to Suzhou to work in the school as teachers, and this year we'll be sending 2 teachers in November who will be concentrating on what they can learn from the setting there to bring back here.
Mandy and I will be going to China in November, and we'll be working in Suzhou number 10 high school, and we'll be teaching and building relationships between the schools.
Well, once we're there, we'll both be teaching, and I'll be teaching in the area of science and English, and Megan will be teaching in a particular visual arts.
There's going to be some challenges that I think we'll come across, obviously the language and the translation, and also working in a different educational system and different ways of presenting material and the different ways of interacting with students, which will be very interesting, but I think there'll be a challenge at the same time.
One of the great things about the program's been the exchange of teachers between the two schools. We've had our colleagues from China come out here in November, December last year. They taught some classes. So they were actually in the classroom in all different subject areas, English, history, PE and some IT classes as well. Out of the learnings and the conversations that we've had with our colleagues and the observations in classes, some of the ways that we've introduced Mandarin this year has changed significantly. So rather than teaching Mandarin as just a language, we've embraced it more as a cultural study, and we've started to introduce to our students more of the aspects of Chinese lifestyle, and particularly those they find appealing, such as the Tai Chi classes and the use of the hacky sack, and things that are the same in our culture, both our cultures, but also that are different. And in particular, because sport is such a big thing in Australia, we're focused on many of the sporting activities and the use of Tai Chi and some martial arts as well as part of our LOTE program. One of the great things about the program has been the increased understanding between the two cultures, and the fact that we're able to bring teachers from China into our classrooms here has enabled our students to understand that people are people all around the world, and although they might speak a different language, they can still communicate and they still enjoy the same kind of things. We had particular success with our Tai Chi classes last year, and I'm sure that we could emulate that in many other areas as we continue to have our teacher exchanges.
Mr. Joe came over from China. He was the sport teacher in China, and he came and taught us some Tai Chi and done some hacky sacks.
We learned a routine for the Tai Chi, so he was really good at it, but no one in our class had done it before, so it was interesting how everyone went, but yeah, it was good.
Mr. Joe didn't speak much English, but it didn't matter because he demonstrated really well and we could always tell what he wanted us to do. And there were two girls in our class that could speak Chinese, and they could tell us what he was saying. And even though there was a bit of a language barrier, it didn't matter, it was still really fun and we still learned a lot.
The reason we went to China was because immersion's the best way of learning. They're our neighbours, we need to know about them, and they were obtaining some really great results in their education system. What I've really learnt is, and developed an understanding, is when new parents come to our school, I understand what they're thinking. Like, they have so much pressure in China to perform, and it can be a real shock to their system coming to Australia because we just don't have that same pressure on extra study. The best bit about a partner school is that they have a connection which motivates them to learn about each other.